Over the years, Queen Camilla's role within the royal family has sparked controversy, but no one anticipated the latest revelation. A trusted palace insider, recently granted access to her private estate, has made a discovery that's turning heads across the country. While the estate has never been kept secret, few expected anything unusual to be found there. Yet now, what's been uncovered is making headlines and raising serious questions about Camilla's standing in the royal household. So what exactly was found at Queen Camilla's private estate? And why is it causing such a stir? Let's delve into the shocking discovery at Mill House and why it may reshape public perception of the Queen, despite wearing the crown. Queen Camilla continues to maintain aspects of her private life, including ownership of a personal residence away from royal duties. That home is Mill House, secluded, elegant estate nestled in the quiet countryside of Wiltshire. Far from just a simple retreat, Mill House is a sprawling, luxurious property complete with manicured gardens and a dedicated staff alike. The official royal residences, it remains entirely Camilla's private property, independent of the royal family's holdings. This arrangement has raised eyebrows. Critics question whether a sitting queen should own a personal estate wholly outside of royal oversight, especially one of such size and grandeur. But Mill House is more than just a private getaway. It's a historic gem, built in the 1860s and designated as a Grade II listed Italianate country house recognized for its unique architectural style and cultural value. Located near the village of Lecoq, in Wiltshire, the estate features a striking design with an asymmetrical layout and neo-Gothic touches added over the years. Inside, it boasts 6 spacious bedrooms perfect for a quiet, comfortable life away from public scrutiny now. With recent discoveries emerging from within its walls, this peaceful sanctuary is at the center of national attention and, potentially, royal debate. The estate spans approximately 12 acres. Its gardens have been celebrated in British publications, including Country Life, where Queen Camilla posed for a feature to mark her 75th birthday. The landscape strikes a balance between carefully manicured lawns and natural beauty, complete with a gently flowing stream that enhances the estate's tranquil charm. Outdoor amenities also include a heated swimming pool, further emphasizing the home's blend of luxury and comfort. Inside, the interiors have been described in vivid detail by the press. The kitchen is a cheerful space with bright yellow walls, red tiles, blue flooring, and a cozy round table at its heart. The dining room carries a more classic aesthetic: cream and white wallpaper, soft cream carpeting, traditional wooden furniture, framed artwork in gilded frames, and an elegant chandelier overhead. Location only adds to the estate's significance. Mill House is situated just 15 minutes by car from Highgrove House, King Charles's country residence. When a neighboring property, the Old Mill, went up for sale, Charles reportedly purchased it for around £3 million. His aim wasn't expansion or investment, but protection. To prevent the property from being developed commercially and to ensure Camilla's privacy at Mill remained intact. This level of care and luxury has fueled public debate. It also reveals just how deeply Camilla values this estate, not only for what it is, but for what it represents. Camilla originally purchased Mill House in 1996, shortly after her divorce from Andrew Parker Bowles. At the time, she was still years away from officially joining the royal family. But the move marked an intentional step toward carving out a private life beyond traditional royal constraints. Mill wasn't just a charming country home, it was a strategic choice. For £850,000, Camilla gained a spacious, secluded retreat at a time when such a purchase was considered a solid investment. Today, experts estimate the property is worth between £1 million and £1.2 million, given its size, land, and the continued rise in Wiltshire's property values. It's far from the most expensive estate linked to the royals. But what sets it apart is its emotional significance. Importantly, the location of Mill was no accident. Being just a short drive from Highgrove allowed Camilla and Charles to remain close, without living under the same roof, an arrangement that helped nurture their relationship discreetly. Away from the relentless spotlight, even after their marriage in 2005, Camilla held on to Mill, while Clarence House became Their official London residence, Ray Mill, remained hers alone. It wasn't used for state duties or public appearances. It was her sanctuary, a private place where she could retreat, charge, and grieve in peace. That privacy became especially meaningful following the death of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022. Instead of staying at Buckingham Palace, Camilla returned to Ray Mill to mourn quietly, surrounded by familiar comforts and away from public view. Over the years, Ray Mill House has also hosted deeply personal family moments. In 2006, Camilla's daughter, Laura Lopes, held her wedding reception, their low-key event that received little media coverage but underscored the home's importance to the family. The estate offered ample space for entertaining guests, yet still maintained an intimate, lived-in warmth. In many ways, Ray Mill House is more than just a residence. It's a symbol of Camilla's personal journey, one marked by independence, quiet resilience, and the desire to preserve a piece of life untouched by the pressures of royalty. For her 78th birthday in July 2025, Queen Camilla once again chose Ray Mill House as the setting for her official portrait, this time captured by renowned royal photographer Chris Jackson. This wasn't the first time the estate served as her backdrop. Ray Mill had also featured in her 75th birthday portraits and on the cover of Country Life magazine. Now, reinforcing its status as her personal haven, Camilla continues to use Ray Mill House as her weekend retreat, a quiet escape from royal obligations where she can relax and recharge. Some media outlets have even affectionately dubbed it her messy hideout, place where royal formality gives way to comfort and authenticity. It's often described as the one place where she can truly be herself. Though Clarence House has served as her and King Charles's main residence since 2003, Ray Mill House remains Camilla's private sanctuary, owned solely by her since 1996, years before their marriage. Despite some public criticism over a royal figure maintaining a private estate outside of official royal property, it's worth noting that Camilla is far from the only royal to own property independent of the crown. So how unusual is it for members of the royal family to own private estates? Let's take a look at a notable precedent: Queen Elizabeth II. Queen Elizabeth's private estates. When Queen Elizabeth ascended the throne in February 1952 at just 25 years old, she inherited not only a host of national responsibilities but also several private family properties. Unlike the official royal residences owned by the Crown Estate and managed on behalf of the nation, these homes were personal and passed down through generations. One of the most iconic is Sandringham House in Norfolk, inherited from her father, King George VI, and the same year she became queen. Sandringham had been in the royal family since 1862, when Queen Victoria and Prince Albert purchased it with their own private funds. This private purchase helped establish a legal precedent for royal property that isn't part of the public estate. Sandringham became a deeply personal retreat for the Queen. It was where she traditionally spent Christmas with her family, a quiet rural escape, far from public life. Another key private estate was Balmoral Castle, nestled in the Scottish Highlands. Also inherited in 1952, Balmoral had been bought by Prince Albert for Queen Victoria in 1852 and had remained a family property ever since. Despite its fairy tale appearance, it was never state-owned. Queen Elizabeth loved Balmoral and often retreated there for the summer months, inviting close friends and family for private visits. She even took a hands-on approach to its interior design, choosing fabrics and colors herself, adding a personal, homely touch that contrasted with the formality of other royal residences. What made both Sandringham and Balmoral unique was their clear private ownership. They were not bought with public money, did not belong to the state, and stayed in the royal family through inheritance. Due to special legal provisions for the monarchy, Queen Elizabeth was not required to pay inheritance tax on these properties, helping preserve them as family homes for future generations. Camilla's Ray Mill House fits within this long-standing tradition of royals maintaining personal residences outside of official royal life. While public opinion may vary, the historical precedent is clear. Even those at the very top of the monarchy have long relied on private retreats to maintain a sense of normalcy, privacy, and peace. Another major part of Queen Elizabeth's private wealth came from the Duchy of Lancaster, vast portfolio of land, property, and assets that has been held by the reigning monarch for centuries. Though its name may sound official, the duchy is treated as a private estate and has historically provided the sovereign with a significant personal income. The duchy dates back hundreds of years and is automatically passed from one monarch to the next. While the land itself cannot be sold by the monarch, the income it generates belongs entirely to the reigning sovereign. For Queen Elizabeth, it provided around $18 million annually, not from taxes, but from rents, leases, and investments. Tied to the duchy's holdings, one of the most prominent parts of the duchy is the Savoy estate in central London. But the duchy also includes rural farmland, commercial properties, historic buildings across England and Wales. Despite its public origins, the Duchy of Lancaster operates independently from the Crown estate and is managed by its own council, reinforcing its private nature. This personal income allowed Queen Elizabeth to fund smaller projects, charitable patronages, and family expenses without needing approval from Parliament or the Treasury. The rules governing this arrangement were written centuries ago, but they remain legally binding, ensuring the monarch retains full control over the profits. Personal property acquisitions. Queen Elizabeth didn't rely solely on inheritance. Around 1978, she purchased Delnod Lodge, a property near Balmoral, for approximately £750,000 using her personal funds. The lodge was later gifted to Prince Charles and Princess Diana, though it eventually fell out of use and was ultimately demolished. Still, this purchase demonstrated that the Queen sometimes expanded her portfolio with new acquisitions. It's not just historic estates. Another property closely associated with royal life is Frogmore House, though it's technically part of the Crown estate and not personally owned by the monarch. It has long been used for private family events. Nestled within the grounds of Windsor Castle, its secluded location made it a favored venue for informal gatherings and special occasions. For example, Sir Phillips held his wedding reception there in 2008, followed by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in 2018. While Frogmore isn't privately owned, its function blurred the lines between state property and personal space. Much like several other royal residences, private property, and the royal family, just as Queen Elizabeth had her personal estates, King Charles also owns private property. His most notable is Highgrove House, which he purchased in 1980 with his own money. Located in the quiet Gloucestershire countryside, this Georgian-style home became his personal retreat, separate from the demands of public royal life. Despite public misconceptions, there is no law in the UK preventing members of the royal family from owning private property. In fact, royal figures can buy, own, and inherit homes, just like any private citizen. Estates like Balmoral Castle and Sandringham House were never part of the Crown estate. They are held by the monarch as an individual, it's not as the head of state. Queen Elizabeth had legal title to these homes, just as any homeowner would protect it under the same property laws that apply to all UK citizens. This distinction is key to understanding the royal family's real estate. State residences like Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, and Holyrood House are owned by the Crown estate, managed by the government. These buildings are used for official duties, ceremonies, and hosting state visitors. The monarch can live in them, but cannot sell or pass them on as personal property. Private estates, such as Balmoral, Sandringham, and Ray Mill House, are personally owned. They can be bought, inherited, or sold by the royals and are typically used for personal time, family events, or retreat from public life. This distinction between personal and public property within the monarchy is a centuries-old tradition, one that continues to shape how modern royals, including Queen Camilla, manage their private lives and personal wealth. When people consider the full scale of royal property, the numbers can seem staggering. Some reports estimate that the royal family is linked to over £18 billion worth of land and buildings. Of that, the Crown estate alone accounts for more than £15 billion. This includes premium real estate in London's West End, major shopping districts, farmland, and even rights to large areas of the UK seabed. But despite these vast holdings, most royal properties don't actually belong to the royals personally. Instead, they are held in trust by the crown and managed by the government for the benefit of the nation. In contrast, Queen Elizabeth II's truly private homes were limited. Her two main personal residences were Balmoral Castle in Scotland and Sandringham House in Norfolk, both inherited and privately owned. She also had a personal income from the Duchy of Lancaster, which helped fund her private and official work without relying entirely on public funds. In the late 1970s, she purchased Elnadamf Lodge near Balmoral, though the property was later passed on and eventually torn down. Beyond those, the majority of other royal residences, such as Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle, were not hers to own or pass on. They belonged to the state, not the sovereign. Despite this, Queen Elizabeth's private homes never stirred the kind of public controversy that Camilla's has. The Camilla controversy. Why her estate draws scrutiny. So why has Queen Camilla's private estate drawn so much attention? Far more than Queen Elizabeth's personal properties ever did. It likely comes down to perception. Camilla's legacy in the public eye has always been complicated, not solely because of her personal home, but because of the long-standing controversy surrounding her role in royal history. The scrutiny didn't start with Ray Milhouse. It started decades ago, in 1993. Before Camilla officially became part of the royal family, a private phone call between her and Prince Charles was leaked to the press. The conversation, now infamously known as Tampingate, was shockingly intimate and deeply personal. It confirmed what many had suspected, that Camilla and Charles were romantically involved, while he was still married to Princess Diana. The nation was stunned. What might have otherwise been a private scandal exploded into a public crisis. Camilla was no longer just a figure in the prince's social circle. She became the woman many blamed for the collapse of a marriage that the country had invested in emotionally. From that moment on, Camilla's image was marked by controversy. Throughout the 1990s, she kept a low profile, rarely appearing in public. When she did, public reactions were often frosty, if not outright hostile. Even after Princess Diana's death, in 1997, the stigma clung to Camilla. For many, she was a symbol of betrayal, a woman who hadn't just fallen in love with a prince, but who had disrupted a family and contributed to one of the most painful chapters in modern royal history. Today, even as Queen Consort, Camilla's private estate at Ray Milhouse is still seen through the lens of that past. While the home itself is not especially extravagant by royal standards, the emotions tied to her name make it a lightning rod for criticism. To some, it represents her desire to maintain a separate identity outside the traditional royal sphere. To others, it's a lingering symbol of a time they haven't forgotten or forgiven. And that's why, despite historical precedents and legal norms, Camilla's private home continues to spark a level of attention no other royal residence has. But the controversy surrounding Camilla didn't end with the past. As she began stepping into royal life in the early 2000s, it became increasingly clear that she was struggling with the transition. Known for being private and reserved, Camilla was often described as someone who didn't enjoy the spotlight. According to several reports, she once privately admitted that she'd rather walk away from it all than continue living in the public eye. She's spinning with eyes I don't can I dad. Vibing by embodying with item way meaning wade in well wide out men and when by mighting would another in by the unsub bottom by em on my right of way my bag I we know it and we went of showing and so on we went at it. Life wasn't something she had been raised or trained for, and it showed. Now, her discomfort in public settings led many to question whether she was truly committed to her role. or simply going through the motions for Charles's sake. Small moments added to this perception. At one event, Camilla was seen letting Princess Anne walk ahead of her, breaking the royal protocol of order and appearances. While some brushed it off as a minor slip, others saw it as a sign that Camilla still felt out of place in the royal hierarchy. Rather than projecting confidence, moments like this made her seem tentative, as if she were still unsure of her place. This unease lingered well into the 2010s. Despite her increasing presence at official events, she never seemed entirely comfortable. Sources close to the royal household suggested that Camilla never aspired to be queen, and the pressures of royal life weighed heavily on her. During major public occasions, she often looked withdrawn, standing beside Charles, but appearing distant, as though she would rather be anywhere else. While other royals, like Kate Middleton, or even Prince Harry in his early years, seemed to grow into their roles, Camilla carried hers like a Bardina duty, accepted rather than embraced. Family on the sidelines. Camilla's place in the royal family also brought renewed attention to her children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes. Unlike the children of other senior royals, they were never granted titles, a decision that aligned with tradition, since titles are passed through royal bloodlines, not marriage. Still, this stirred debate. If their mother had married into the throne, why were they left entirely outside royal life? In an interview, Tom once confirmed that they had never been invited to spend Christmas at Sandringham with the rest of the royal family. That detail, though seemingly small, revealed a lot. It quietly suggested that Camilla's children remained outsiders even after their mother became queen consort. While protocol might explain their absence, public perception painted a different picture. People expected them to at least appear occasionally at royal weddings, memorials, or even background roles during large family gatherings. Instead, they remained almost invisible, making Camilla's role seem more personal than official, as if she were part of the royal family on her own, but her family wasn't truly welcomed in. Public missteps and viral moments. Camilla's body language and demeanor in public also drew scrutiny. On a tour of the South Pacific, she was filmed during a traditional Samoan dance ceremony. While Charles clapped along enthusiastically, Camilla appeared distracted and disengaged. How the clip circulated widely online, with critics accusing her of appearing bored during a moment of cultural significance. A similar incident happened during a royal visit to Kenya, where Camilla was invited to take part in a Maasai dance. She did join in, but her posture and expressions looked awkward and reserved. The video quickly went viral, with online reactions calling her uncomfortable and dismissive, even if unintentionally so. While such moments might seem minor in isolation, they reinforced an image of detachment, someone who wasn't fully connected to the role she had taken on, or to the people she was meant to engage with. And in the age of viral videos and constant media exposure, these fleeting moments had lasting consequences for how the public viewed her. Whether it was nerves or something deeper, Camilla's public missteps fed into an image of someone who struggled to connect with people outside her familiar world. And in the years that followed, her challenges only grew. One of the most damaging blows came in 2023, when Prince Harry released his memoir, Spare. The book didn't hold back, especially when it came to Camilla. Harry accused her of leaking stories to the press, alleging that she worked behind the scenes to improve her public image at the expense of others in the royal family. He described her as dangerous and manipulative, saying she had made deals with the media to shape her narrative, sometimes at the cost of his and others' privacy. But that wasn't all. He also gave a raw and unfiltered account of Camilla's role as a stepmother, implying there was always distance, never closeness. For readers who still saw Diana as the people's princess, Harry's portrayal of Camilla was a sharp reminder that not everyone within the palace had embraced her. Even her title caused renewed backlash. In 2023, it was officially announced that she would no longer be referred to as Queen Consort, just Queen Camilla. To some, it was merely a matter of protocol, but to others, it felt like a rewriting of royal history, especially since Queen Elizabeth II had once carefully used the term Queen Consort in her final public statements. Reports surfaced suggesting that Princess Anne disapproved of the title change, believing it went against the late Queen's wishes. Whether or not that was true, it added fuel to the ongoing idea that not everyone in the royal family supported Camilla's full elevation. The question no one can ignore: by 2024, public debate around Camilla had taken on a new shape. A channel for documentary aired that year, revisiting her past with a sharp, critical tone. Titled with dramatic flair, it referred to her as a wicked stepmother and rehashed old scandals. Though it didn't offer much new information, it rekindled public resentment, reminding viewers of the long-standing tensions that have followed her for decades. But even beyond the media, bigger, more pressing question was emerging. What happens if King Charles is no longer around? Will Camilla retain her titles and place in royal life, or will she be quietly pushed aside? A future and uncertainty as concern grows over King Charles's health. Camilla may carry the heaviest emotional burden of all, not only for her husband's well-being, but for what her own future might look like without him. Earlier this year, Buckingham Palace made a rare and unexpected move. It announced that the king had been diagnosed with cancer. The type and stage were not disclosed, but even without details, the message was clear: some serious. The announcement marked the first time in modern history that a reigning British monarch had publicly shared a cancer diagnosis. The level of transparency was extraordinary, and it sent shockwaves through the public. Amid this growing concern, tension has begun shifting toward Prince William and Kate Middleton. They have started to step forward more visibly, not just in ceremonial roles, but in ways that suggest real preparation for leadership. At the 80th D-Day anniversary in France, Prince William represented the king, delivering a speech and standing beside world leaders. It wasn't a symbolic gesture, it was a clear sign of succession in motion. Later, William and Kate hosted a major garden party at Buckingham Palace without either Charles or Camilla in attendance. That absence sent a quiet but powerful message. The public face of the monarchy is already starting to change. The unspoken truth: her future rests with William when the time comes. Camilla's future in the royal family will rest in the hands of Prince William. Her current title, Queen, is not locked in by law. Royal titles are shaped by precedent, tradition, and most importantly, the will of the reigning monarch. Even though Queen Elizabeth II once expressed her sincere wish that Camilla be known as Queen Consort, the monarchy is always evolving. William, once deeply affected by the pain of his mother's death and the role Camilla played in that narrative, may face difficult choices about how visible and powerful Camilla remains. In the next chapter of the monarchy, Prince William will have full constitutional authority to modify Camilla's title once he becomes king. That puts him in a powerful and deeply personal position, one where his vision for the monarchy could either affirm Camilla's current role or redefine it in a way that reflects his own values and his loyalty to his mother's legacy. Whatever the decision he makes, it will be watched closely and likely criticized from all sides. What makes this moment especially sensitive isn't just royal tradition or public expectation, it's the emotional weight still tied to Princess Diana. For many, Camilla remains a symbol of a painful chapter in royal history. Quiet speculation has already begun. Will William, even subtly, attempt to reframe the royal narrative, not out of revenge, but to restore a balance many believe was never fully addressed? This isn't theoretical. William's loyalty to his mother has been a defining theme of his public life. In 2021, he and Prince Harry unveiled a statue of Diana on what would have been her 60th birthday, placing her legacy firmly at the center of royal memory. William's speeches, his charitable focus, even his calm and empathetic public image, all reflect Diana's influence. So the question becomes, would keeping Camilla in a prominent royal role feel like a contradiction or even a betrayal of that legacy? In royal circles, silence speaks volumes. There's no hard evidence that William harbors resentment toward Camilla. But in the royal world, action is not the only form of communication. Inaction, like reducing her public appearances, quietly reassigning patronages, or limiting her ceremonial presence, could send just as strong a message. And such moves would not go unnoticed. Whether or not they are intended as punishment They would likely be interpreted that way by parts of the public and the media. After decades of scrutiny and suspicion, Camilla's role remains fragile, especially when viewed through the lens of public affection for Diana. Yet there is another side to this story, one that complicates any simple reading of Camilla's fate. Legally, William has options from a constitutional standpoint. William would have the legal authority to reshape Camilla's position. Monarchs have the power to grant, modify, or even revoke royal titles. While revoking the title of queen would be highly controversial and without precedent, it is not legally impossible. If Camilla were to step back from active royal duties, William could, in theory, reclassify her as a dowager queen or assign her a more honorary title that reflects a reduced role. But such a move would come with serious political and emotional consequences. Public opinion would be crucial. While many still view Camilla through the lens of the Diana years, others have come to respect her especially for her work on domestic violence prevention, supporting survivors, and promoting literacy. In recent years, she's been seen by some as a stabilizing presence beside King Charles. That puts William in a difficult position. Taking action against Camilla could look vindictive, especially if it's seen as reopening old wounds. Doing nothing could be interpreted as ignoring unresolved public feelings about Diana and the history surrounding Camilla's rise. The challenge isn't just about titles or tradition, it's about narrative control, emotional truth, and how one future monarch might balance duty with personal history. There's also a very real possibility that Camilla herself may not wish to continue a highly public role without King Charles before becoming queen. She lived a relatively private life at her personal estate, Ray Mill House in Wiltshire Place, she purchased after her divorce. If Charles is no longer around, she may choose to return to that quiet life, away from the spotlight and royal obligations. How Prince William chooses to handle this transition will say a lot about his leadership as king. He's already shown a more modern, open-minded approach, speaking candidly about mental health, embracing change, and appearing far more in tune with public sentiment than previous generations of royals. Behind the scenes, it's likely King Charles has already made preparations to protect Camilla's future. While nothing has been officially confirmed, royal insiders suggest that steps may have been taken to ensure her financial security and comfortable living arrangements, possibly through private trusts, property agreements, or even personal letters to William and other family members. Charles has spent decades standing by Camilla, shielding her from criticism and helping to shape her acceptance within the royal family. It's unlikely he would leave her vulnerable after his death. While he cannot dictate what William does in the future, he can try to create conditions that preserve her dignity and well-being. So what do you think? Will Queen Camilla's role change if King Charles is no longer around? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our channel for more royal insights. And if you're curious about what comes next for the monarchy, click the video on your screen now. You won't want to miss it.